smoke problem, and we're doing emergency descent to level 140.
Mauritius, November 28, 1987. A silent night, and high above the sky, South African Airways Flight 295 glides through the darkness, crossing over the Indian Ocean. The aircraft is now just 265 kilometers away from Mauritius International Airport. In just a short while, descent will begin. Everything inside the cockpit appears normal. The captain is calm. Most of the passengers are fast asleep. But then, suddenly, the silence breaks. A sharp warning alarm echoes through the cockpit, a signal that doesn't point to a minor fault, but to danger. Somewhere in the cargo compartment, a fire has broken out. Smoke begins to spread. Panic ripples through the cabin. Passengers rise from their seats, some crying, some praying, clutching their loved ones. The captain keeps checking the systems, but one by one, the aircraft begins losing its instruments. Navigation, control, everything starts weakening. With every passing minute, the situation grows more critical. Now, there is only one hope left: an emergency landing. The captain radios in, his voice heavy and tense. "Mayday! Mayday! We have fire on board, requesting immediate landing clearance." Mauritius Air Traffic Control responds instantly. The runway is being prepared. But the real question is, in these next few minutes, will the captain be able to bring 159 lives safely back to the ground? Or will this flight, somewhere over the ocean, turn into a tragic, final story? The answer lies just a few breaths away. This is the story of South African Airways Flight 295. Taipei, Taiwan, November 27, 1987. Under the night sky, the runway lights of the international airport are shining, and there, a huge Boeing 747 Combi is slowly preparing for its long journey. The flight will take off from Taipei, cross the vast Indian Ocean, a journey of approximately 10 hours, and then depart from Mauritius for Johannesburg, South Africa. The weather is clear, the skies are calm, and the passengers' hearts are filled with the joy of returning home. Some are returning after vacation, some are sitting in the hope of seeing family. These 140 passengers and 19 crew members sitting in their seats, no one has any idea that this journey is about to become part of history. This plane is a Combi 747, where passengers are in the front and cargo in the back on the same deck. This flight is being piloted by a highly experienced crew. Seated in the cockpit is 49-year-old Captain David Aas, a former South African Air Force pilot. 18 years of experience, 14,000 hours in the air. His calm demeanor and professionalism, everyone trusts him. With him is First Officer David Atwell, 7,000 hours of experience, strong, confident, and as dedicated as his captain. And right there, the third important face in the cockpit, Flight Engineer Gusif Bellaguarda, a man who will have to experience moments on this flight that no pilot wants to even contemplate.
So far, everything is normal. Passengers are sitting in their seats, the crew is smiling, and the plane is slowly moving towards its destination. But behind this calm sky, fate is writing a silent story. A story which in the moments to come, the world will always remember. The night deepens, and in the deep darkness of the sky, South African Airways 295, in the middle of its long flight, is moving silently forward. But in the cockpit, the flight engineer suddenly sees a meter. He realizes some systems are failing. And then, suddenly, a sharp beep. The fire alarm sounds in the cockpit. Their breath stops. Belleguarda quickly checks the systems and in a trembling voice tells the captain, "There's a fire in the cargo section, the same section right behind the passenger section." Now, everything has changed. Smoke begins to fill the cabin. Passengers in the back panic and rush forward. No one understands anything. Children's screams, people's cries, and a storm of panic all around. In the cockpit, the captain and crew rush to extinguish the fire. Fire extinguishers are activated, but the fire is as if alive. It's getting stronger every second. The smoke has increased so much that breathing is becoming difficult. The pilots turn off the circulating fans, but to no avail. Now, the captain has only one option: land the plane immediately, somehow. But will they be able to reach it in time? Or is this flight about to end in a terrible accident? 159 learn, a captain's courage, and every second this plane is hurtling towards death. The next few moments will decide their fate. 7 hours have passed since the flight began. The night sky is calm, but inside the plane something isn't right. Flight engineer Belleguarda suddenly notices that some systems are beginning to respond. As he begins to investigate, a loud alarm sounds in the cockpit. Fire warning. Belleguarda reports in a trembling voice, "There's a fire in the cargo section, and it's right behind the passenger section." At that very moment, the atmosphere in the cockpit changes. Anxiety on faces and anxiety inside. The crew immediately tries to control the fire. Fire extinguishers are activated, but the fire seems to be raging even more. Slowly, smoke begins to spread throughout the cabin. Passengers in the rear panic and rush to the front. Screams are heard somewhere. Screams are heard somewhere. Chaos erupts everywhere. The pilots turn off the circulation fans to reduce the smoke, but it's to no avail. The captain realizes, now every moment his life is in danger. The nearest airport, Mauritius, is still 265 kilometers away. The captain contacts ATC and asks for permission to lower the plane from 35,000 feet to 14,000 feet. But then the situation worsens. The smoke has become even thicker. Carbon dioxide is rising in the cabin. Many passengers begin to faint. Some fall silent forever. Amidst this death-like silence, the captain makes a decision, one that has probably never been made on a flying passenger plane before. He orders the plane's door open. At 14,000 feet, tremendous air pressure, yet the crew somehow manages to open the door. With a strong gust of wind, a little smoke comes out, but the fire is still ruthless. It's beginning to lick the plane's structure. Wires are burning. Systems are shutting down one by one. The door has been opened too long, and now the cabin pressure is dropping to dangerous levels. The captain immediately gives the order. Close the door. The door closes, but the fire has now spread beyond control. The electrical system begins to collapse. Communications are breaking down. Signals are being disrupted. Mauritius ATC declares a full emergency. The captain, the crew, they did everything, every effort, every hope, but the fire has now become a monster, which is slowly about to engulf the entire plane. Mauritius ATC, as if in a last hope, asks the captain, "Which runway do you need? We are ready." But neither the captain nor ATC knew that this would be their last conversation. Time is slowly moving forward, and at that very moment, the fire spreading inside the plane has now reached its most horrifying form. Around 4:10 a.m., the temperature had risen so high that the plane's structure began to melt. The metal began to break apart, and within moments, that huge Boeing broke into 3 pieces and about 200 kilometers from Mauritius sank into the dark depths of the Indian Ocean. The sea remained calm. But that night, 159 lives were buried with the waves. No one survived, neither the crew nor the passengers. This became the most tragic, the worst accident in the history of South African Airways. But the question still remained. How did the fire start? What was there in the cargo section that caused such a devastating fire? The investigation team examined the debris recovered from the deep sea, but the truth remained elusive. Still, fire experts made one clear statement. The temperature of the fire, it was over 1000 degrees Celsius. This means there was no ordinary substance, but highly combustible material, possibly chemicals or something like gunpowder. But that substance, who sent it? Why was it sent? And was it hidden? Even today, this mystery surrounding this accident in the depths of the ocean sleeps quietly. At the beginning of the video, the radio station ZAR we mentioned, the same station that was connected to planes around the world 24 hours a day. It was here, that night, South African Airways 295 left its last voice. Every conversation between the pilots and the radio station was always recorded on tape, and that tape could tell us the truth, where the plane was, what happened, when the fire started, and why. But, not unfortunately, but a terrifying mystery emerged. The tape from that night was missing. No one had it, not in any record room, just a blank space. The strange thing was, the tape from the day before was there, the tape from the day after, but the tape from the night of the accident was missing. Was this just a coincidence? Or maybe there was something on that tape that was deemed necessary to hide from the world? This is where the story gets even more complicated. Not just the tape, the cargo manifest from Taipei airport was also missing. That means, what was loaded on that plane? What was the luggage? What was placed in the cargo? Everything was erased. These two documents were the biggest keys to solving this mystery, and both were deliberately destroyed. Now, fingers were pointed only to one place, the South African government. The year was 1987, and at that time, South Africa was embroiled in a terrible war with its neighbor Angola. The government needed weapons, ammunition, missiles, but the world had imposed an arms embargo on South Africa, meaning it could not legally purchase weapons from anywhere. And then a dark path was chosen. Secret arms deals, hidden contracts, and illegal arms supplies. To deliver the weapons, a means was chosen, passenger aircraft. The very aircraft in which people sat with their families, returned home, flying with dreams, and within it were loaded gunpowder, bullets, missiles, highly flammable material. Passengers knew nothing. Beneath their feet, death was traveling silently. And then it was speculated that the fire on 295 was sparked by these very weapons. If the world knew this truth, not just the airline, the entire government would collapse. So, the evidence disappeared. Records were erased, the truth was buried beneath the sea, and the investigation was quietly closed without any conclusion. Even today, that question floats in the air. Was this tragedy an accident, or was the truth hidden? And perhaps the sky and the ocean will hold the answer forever.